Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Infinity, and this is Magnetize Yourself, where we talk about life, love, spirituality, and of course, the law of attraction. In today's video, I am doing a collective reading and energy updates for our beautiful community here on YouTube. So I'm going to get started today by shuffling the Energy Oracle Cards deck. And right away, I want to say that I woke up this morning with some strange throat chakra sensations. You may even be able to hear it in my voice a little bit, especially as I'm still waking up. And because often what we feel individually can be a collective energy as well, I know that many of you tuning into this channel, especially those of you who connect as divine feminines, may have been feeling some kinds of strange sensations around your throat chakra recently, or perhaps you've seen some other more metaphysical signs of throat chakra clearing, meaning you've had moments where you felt like you've been called to say something. You felt like your throat chakra has been activated some way through a conversation, or you've been called to speak your truth to someone, to use your voice to stand up for yourself or for others. So do let me know if that connects with anyone. I do believe that might just apply to a subset of people listening. But I am going to start by shuffling the cards and seeing what comes through about these throat chakra shifts and changes, especially for the divine feminine. Now, do keep in mind these labels, feminine and masculine, are not connected with any particular gender, so take them as they resonate with you personally. We also do each have a balance of internal masculine and feminine energies. So you might find throughout this reading that the messages for the masculine or the feminine actually connect to you simultaneously as you are exploring your inner self, your inner world of internal masculine and internal feminine. Also, I do channel many different people, messages, and pieces of information throughout these readings, so always be sure to use your intuition above all else to really determine which messages are for you and which messages are for others. For some reason, I heard the names Rose and Anne. There could just be something about roses coming out for someone, or rose quartz. I also saw the numbers 3 and 13, and I've been seeing a lot of those two numbers recently. Also, if you would like me to channel a specific message for you and your situation, be sure to like this video and also double check that you are subscribed, because by liking and subscribing, this does allow me to pick up more easily on your energy. Okay, so we have the woman holding a coin in the upright position. This card in my readings often signifies some kind of karmic energy. Now, for some, this could be a karmic feminine energy, meaning that if you are connected with a masculine or divine masculine in the physical right now, there may be some kind of karmic pattern or cycle around him, or that has been around him in the past. And you may have felt your throat chakra activated, pushing you to hold your ground around this situation, or to vocalize some kind of truth about how you feel on this situation, either internally to yourself to really clarify your truth, and to, I'm also hearing, hold your boundaries. Or if this is not applying to an external masculine, this actually could be applying to your internal world. I'm hearing something coming to light. So for some of you listening, there could actually be something coming to light within you. You may be realizing that you have allowed external people or circumstances to control you or restrict you in some way to keep you from using your full voice. And so your throat chakra is being activated at this time to really pull you into that full-blown expression of yourself to others, to the world. I'm feeling that for some, this may have to do with your purpose or what you consider to be your life's work, your life's calling, whether this is creating, doing something artistic, a business, a career, a home, a family. I feel like whatever this is, your choice to activate your throat chakra in this way to clear out those blocks that prevented you from fully expressing yourself in the past. This energy work you are doing within yourself is really magnetizing your energy field for abundance, not just financially, but an abundance of, I'm hearing, attracting in positive connections and people into your life, whereas you may have been feeling really lonely in the past. I'm seeing something about the month of February for someone, so that could be someone's birth month. It's interesting, this financial constraints reverse card that speaks to this abundance coming in is also the number 13. So once again, we're seeing that number 13 showing up a lot. So with that being said, I am going to channel a quick message from the number 1313. And I actually am realizing I channeled this number in a recent video as well. And this signifies growth, progress, new beginnings. Develop your spiritual side or continue to develop your spiritual self and trust the universe. And for many divine feminines, it's that trust piece that we've really been working on collectively as of late. We have been learning how to fully surrender our plans to the higher design within ourselves and of the universe. Generally, we are learning to surrender our timing to the divine timing that we innately are connected with within ourselves, and in the process to release a lot of really deep-seated limiting belief systems. I'm specifically seeing one of these limiting belief systems coming up being about time limitation. I'm getting that for some of you, there may be people around you, or perhaps this is just society generally telling you that you have to do something in a certain amount of time. Now, of course, this will be different for everyone connecting with this message who is listening. But I do see for many of you, this is connected with a particular Earth year age. So for some of you, you may feel as though you are supposed to do certain life milestones, whether it's finding a certain kind of job or finding a partner or marrying, settling down, starting a family, or really whatever the case is. There may just be these certain concepts of when you are supposed to or when you are allowed to do certain things in your life. And of course, these are all limiting belief systems and deep-seated programs. And in fact, if you're finding yourself coming up against some of these programs, if you're finding yourself doing things differently and possibly receiving judgment, which is really just others projecting their own limitation onto you, know that this is because you were meant to clear out these patterns, not just for yourself, but for your family's line and for the collective as well. And with the third eye chakra reversed, speaking to our intuition, I am getting that I'm hearing in the past you were trying to hold on, but now you're letting go. Now you're surrendering, because we also have the attachment card in the reverse position, and your choice to surrender is changing everything, because I'm also seeing the number 555 come up here. And not only that, but this choice to surrender is really opening the door to something within your love relationships, with door to romance in the upright position. I almost see someone, it's like they're making the choice to surrender, to walk through the dark, to not really know when or how things are going to unfold. And that choice to surrender is exactly the choice that is ironically opening the very doors they were so concerned about knowing when they were going to open or how. But it's like that surrender is necessary in order to open the doors. It's very backwards from how we are taught and trained to be in this world. We are taught that We are supposed to identify the doors that are going to open and then forcibly open them ourselves. But what I'm seeing with you, Divine Feminine, is you are learning how to trust your inner navigator. I'm seeing that metaphor again of like an internal GPS system. This came out in a recent reading as well. And that is your intuition. You are learning to trust that internal navigation to keep you on the most efficient route to your most accelerated growth, evolution, expansion, and highest vibrational pathway. Even if people around you don't understand the turns that you are making, those choices and decisions you are making based on that internal guidance. And this is resulting in a really strong reconnection of you, Divine Feminine, with your internal voice, your intuition, which I feel others may have attempted to artificially disconnect you from in the past. But that's breaking loose, with all tied up in the reverse position. I did see a child, so this may be speaking to, for some of you Divine Feminines, in childhood, you may have been born into circumstances or situations where you felt like, you felt like your voice was stolen from you, or that you weren't really allowed to have a voice or to listen to your inner voice. You were taught to deny or gaslight yourself out of following your internal guidance. So there's been this path back home to yourself that is really beginning to culminate. And in the extended version of the reading, because I'm feeling a lot of power and energy here around this dynamic for you, Divine Feminine, we will be channeling more information in the extended on how you are being reconnected with that internal guidance system, what this is looking like for you, how this is unfolding your life in a really beautiful way, causing you to open up again in love, in relationships, also when it comes to your life purpose and mission and the abundance you are attracting in from that, both materially, but also abundance in the form of a lot of positive energy, attention, connections. So many doors are opening in front of you because you have the courage to no longer need to identify which doors are going to open or when they're going to open, but to sit back into that state of surrender and allow it to be effortless, allow them to open in front of you. So if you would like more channeled information from your spirit guides, from your higher self, whatever divine forces you personally connect with about these doors opening, about this internal reconnection with your intuition, then the link to those messages in the extended reading on Patreon is in the pinned comment and description box under this video. But for now, I am going to be reshuffling the cards, and I want to dive more deeply into the divine masculine energy. Now, of course, as I always say, this may apply to an external masculine that you are dealing with in your physical life, but this could equally apply to your internal world and the internal divine masculine essence within you. I have to tell you, right as I set the intention to channel into the masculine polarity, I instantly felt a twinge of fear and worry coming up. So I do feel that the masculine is reacting in a worried or fearful way at times, feeling triggered into this fear by something. And I heard my guide say by love, by unconditional love. Because of the intensity of that love, it's triggering him at times into fear that he's actually being guided into by his guides, by his higher self, to go into the fear, to ask himself where the root of that fear is and to unravel it within himself. Nothing will come of this situation. The energy I'm getting is a divine masculine who is almost like having his fight or flight system triggered. There's almost this feeling of panic coming up within him, which I'm hearing him say, it's fear of losing you, divine feminine. So if there is an external divine masculine that you feminine are connecting with in the physical world, he's feeling really fearful about losing you, or I'm hearing about not being able to access you. So for some of you, there may be boundaries in place you, Divine Feminine, may have been guided to set stronger boundaries within this situation or to withdraw your energy in some way as you felt guided to do so, potentially to go within yourself and to really stabilize and find that balance within. And I feel the Divine Feminine coming into this era of a lot of peace because she's done so much inner work. She's gone deeply into her own shadows and triggers and really begun to unravel all of that and to find the gold within it, to find the purpose within it, because of course the immensity of the shadow within us also speaks to the immensity of our capacity for light and for value to ourselves and others on this planet. So often when you are a highly advanced, ancient, spiritual being like you are, you will choose to incarnate on planet Earth in circumstances that are very heavy with shadow, either in your family's life. Many of you have come to clear out a lot of family karma. And really what I mean by that is you've come to take on the patterns of your family or to experience them in an amplified way, an intensified way, so that you can, through the shadow, carve out that space within you to carry a great deal of light and become this beacon of light, this torch leading the path, a new path for your family and for your family's line. And I would like to speak in future videos more about this, being a torchbearer for your family, being what we sometimes think of as a generational curse breaker, because that's very relevant for the Divine Feminine collective especially. But I see that this masculine is almost following behind in that energy, meaning that the Divine Feminines have gone through and into a lot of their shadow, but for many masculines, they are becoming conscious of that shadow self for the first time. They are beginning to break through that density, or beginning to feel into that depth within themselves. And this can be a very triggering experience for the human, even though it is a pre-designated experience for the soul, meaning we choose as souls to come here and experience the shadow, to be pulled into it, again, to be pulled into it, to break through it, and to discover how to carve out equal parts light within ourselves. But the human very often finds this process very overwhelming. It triggers many of their primal, raw responses. So this is how we experience this split, where at times we feel ourselves living very much from what we consider to be the fifth dimension, where we are free flowing, where we are in that effortless flow state, learning a new way of being, of sharing ourselves, of communicating, of loving in this world, feeling deep peace and harmony in our lives and in our relationships, being able to see the bird's eye perspective of ourselves and our lives. But there's a split, because although that's our soul's perspective that we are becoming more and more consciously connected to as we continue this awakening process, the split is that there is still that human element, that density within ourselves, because we are in a physical human vessel. There's still that heavy programming around us environmentally, as a frequency in our frequential environment, our sound environments. And so as a result of this, we can find ourselves kind of vacillating between these two ways of being and existing, this fifth dimension way of being and this three-dimensional way of being and existing. Now, for Divine Feminines, many of us have really begun to carve a path into the 5D that's becoming very practiced. So we know how to find that place of peace and stability and harmony within ourselves, even though, of course, at times we will find ourselves weighted back down into the 3D. But for the masculines, many of them are just becoming consciously aware of this other self, this higher spiritual self. They are opening that portal with the portal card coming out here in the upright position. Doors are opening. You decide. Rewards, wild card. And I'm hearing my guide say the masculine is being presented with a choice or with choices. Now, of course, divine feminines, as the masculine is presented with these choices, and that we could also think of as these portal moments. These choices I'm hearing are potential doorways into the fifth dimensional realm, into connecting more with his higher self and with that higher frequency way of being. But it's almost like situations or conversations or communication is being intentionally created to offer that choice point moment of, are you going to rise and see this situation, this person, this conversation from a higher self perspective, from that bird's eye view, and make a decision from that point of perspective? Or are you going to make this choice from fear? And of course, as I said, are you going to make this choice from fear? We have the yin yang card in the reverse position, which is my number one twin flame card in the deck. Now, of course, only you know whether you are dealing with a twin flame situation. So only take this if it connects. This can also speak to the interplay between the divine masculine and divine feminine energies, which can show up in many ways in our lives and relationships. But the fact this card is reversed tells me that choices are being presented. I'm hearing not just to the physical masculine, but to both counterparts, to allow them to bring greater balance into their life, into their mission, their work, into their connections, particularly if they are 3D connecting in a very high level soulmate or twin flame situation. But there are these choices being presented, choices of, are you going to allow yourself to slip back into old ways of thinking and behaving that were automatically programmed into you, that are deeply rooted, that are deeply subconscious in most cases? Or are you going to choose to be a path forger? Are you going to choose a higher path in this situation? And a lot of times that higher path with victory reversed, ironically, can look defeating. It can look hopeless. It can look very uncertain to the physical human self and to the ego mind. It's like our soul is guiding us places that it knows. Our soul knows the way. Again, we have that internal guidance system, that GPS. But very often, even when our soul knows the way, our conscious mind interjects with its own doubt, its fears that again are like a fight or flight response being automatically triggered within us. I'm hearing part of this triggering actually comes from the triggering of the collective shadow, which, as I've spoken about in previous videos, the collective unconscious shadow is highly triggered by the frequency of unconditional love that twin flames carry. And when you are someone that is highly sensitive and very empathic, you can actually pick up on and absorb the triggering of the collective shadow. And it can feel as though you yourself are being intensely triggered by the unconditional love bond that you are experiencing or feeling, even if it doesn't really make sense to you, even if in the situation you can't pinpoint why you're being triggered. You can feel this uneasiness. You can feel these absorbed triggers, again, from the collective unconscious whose shadow is being deeply triggered for the purpose of healing and transmutation. All of this is leading to radical expansion with the World card in the upright position. But as is always the case, we are presented with these moments, these choices where we are given the choice as to whether we are going to step into our own expansion or whether we are going to allow ourselves to automatically respond based on our own fears. Again, many of which are collectively absorbed programs. And this is not to be underestimated because this is a very intense process, these choices that we make. And I'm hearing very often they seem to be small choices, whether to react or respond to a person or situation, whether to choose peace or chaos, whether to choose to react really negatively and react in a way that can cause hurt or pain to others because we ourselves are hurt or in pain, or whether we are choosing a higher path of taking what others give us, the the projections, the insecurities, the fears others project onto us, taking that and transmuting it into love. And it's a very challenging practice to learn. It's the path of the Ascended Masters. It's a very high calling in this lifetime to choose a path of unconditional love, to choose a path of accelerated soul growth and expansion, as I feel you have chosen. If you are one listening to this reading, I'm hearing you have chosen, but you also are chosen. You are so-called one of the chosen ones. We often think of those who choose these higher paths as being part of the 144,000. But I'm hearing that simultaneously you are chosen, but it's because at a soul level, you have chosen this very challenging, very intense, but highly accelerated path of expansion. So in the extended version of the reading, I will be channeling more into these choices that are being made by both the divine masculine and divine feminine. Again, these could apply to your internal self or to an external masculine or feminine equally. So I will be channeling into what these choices may look like, what they mean, any messages from your spirit guides or higher self about these choices that are being made. And some of these choices, I feel with the broken heart card upright, may be choices of healing around the heart chakra center, healing parts of the heart that may have been reacting very unconsciously in the past, either in relationships or in connections generally. And I especially see this heart chakra healing happening for the masculine, who may be becoming a lot more conscious, especially around the heart chakra center, learning how to respond with love to situations and to see things more from his higher self perspective, especially when it comes to love and relationships, rather than making choices and decisions in the moment to satisfy the ego-based mind. So again, we will be diving deeper into those so-called choices for both the masculine and feminine in the extended reading, which is linked in the pinned comments and description box under this video. Okay, so now I am going to be using the traditional tarot to channel any other messages or pieces of information that want to be coming through. I'm hearing that I may be answering some mental intentions that some of you beautiful souls have set within your mind upon listening to this reading. And the cards to come out here are the anxiety card upright, but also the apathy card reversed. We have the 9 of Swords and also the 4 of Cups reversed. So I feel I'm speaking to someone here who has felt some anxieties coming up recently. I'm hearing someone who typically feels very peaceful has been feeling a bit anxious, and at times this is almost physically, viscerally felt through either the sacral chakra or the solar plexus chakra. So in the physical body, this is the lower abdomen area and also all the way up to a little under the belly button, what we kind of consider to be the gut or the stomach area. And I'm getting that, so again, someone may have been feeling weird sensations in these physical areas of the body, but also that someone might be feeling sudden overwhelm of negative emotions. You might even say you're just feeling stressed or feeling overwhelmed, but you might not even really be able to pinpoint where these feelings or emotions are coming from. And I do keep hearing something about how this energy is being received from something external, which is why you can't really pinpoint where it's coming from. Whoever I'm speaking to here, I wanted to use the term psychic attack, and that has been coming up in recent readings. Now, I don't love using this term because I know it comes with a lot of negative connotations. And of course, we are always the conscious creators of our life. Everything is always working out for you. You are divinely protected and guided. That is the dominant truth. However, as empathic beings, of course, we are also capable of absorbing energies from our environment, either our literal physical environment or our social environment, our societal environments. And I'm getting that there's someone here who has been, I'm hearing almost picking up on other people's stress or overwhelm. So there could be people around you who are in a really negative state of being, and you are empathically absorbing this. But I'm also hearing that you could be feeling a triggering of people around you, literally in your world, or just, again, the collective shadow generally. And for some reason, I'm wanting to say they don't like the way that you are choosing to live your life. So there might be something about your life that's very unconventional or triggering to others in some way. But I'm also getting that simply by you living in an energy of peace, in an energy of abundance, making things in your life begin to look so effortless. Other people around you may project out their own insecurities and their own disbelief in their ability to create the same kind of life. It's actually what they desire the most. They desire to live or behave in the ways that you are, whether that's because you are someone who is beginning to embody that deep peace that you are coming into within yourself, someone who is learning to follow your heart and manifest some of your dreams in life. Whatever the case is, I feel that people around you, it's like they want the same thing, but they project out their disbelief that they are capable of having the same thing as you, if that makes sense. I don't know who this is for, so only take this if it resonates with you. But I am getting that with the Four of Cups reversed. This is an energy that is being cleared out of you. I'm almost getting that if you've been guided to spend more time alone or to sleep more frequently, it's like the divine is actually extracting these absorbed energies from your aura, from your energy field. So pay attention to the times you feel guided to spend time alone or to meditate more frequently, to go on walks. All of these things you feel guided to do may be the divine guiding you into this clearing out of your energy, which, if these weighted down energies have at all caused you to feel like you are stagnating in your work, your life, your relationships, know that and trust that these stagnant energies will begin to move again as your energy field is continuously cleared in this way, either subconsciously as you are sleeping. I'm getting some of this clearing may happen while you are asleep. You may be having very vivid dreams as a result of this energetic clearing happening subconsciously at a higher self level, but also you may feel guided to participate in certain activities or absorb certain material that plays a role in clearing out your energy in this way. I'm getting with the Eight of Cups upright that through introspection and through perhaps realizing that others are projecting onto you in this way, there may be the need at times for you to accept that certain people are going to be left behind, that not everyone is going to be able to follow you into these higher frequency states of being. However, they might follow later in the future. You might be rising to a higher vibrational timeline where you feel alone at times because there are fewer people living at that higher frequency and therefore fewer available for you to connect with. But those connections you do attract will be incredibly meaningful, mutually beneficial, and satisfying. I just keep hearing, don't be afraid to leave someone behind. You're not really leaving anyone behind, whether this is within a friendship situation, a family situation, a love situation. By choosing to align with your highest vibrational pathway, you are actually having this powerful uplifting effect on others, but you are presenting them with a choice, the choice whether or not they themselves are going to choose to rise with you. And it's a beautiful thing that you're providing this opportunity for upliftments and for expansion to the people around you, but not everyone will necessarily choose right away to go. And you must trust that alignment and that realignment process. I'm getting that for some of you, this may apply specifically to a love situation. Perhaps if you are a divine feminine, there may be a masculine in your life that you again have this fear of abandoning, this fear of leaving behind by choosing your highest path. But Spirit is guiding you into trust, guiding you to remember that when you choose your ultimate expansion, growth, evolution, your highest path, to follow where that internal GPS is leading you, you will be naturally aligned with the most highest vibrational available forms of connection, both in love and otherwise. But you must allow that realignment process to take place rather than trying to control it from an ego perspective. And the beautiful and ironic thing here is very often when we choose to let go, when we choose to surrender the outcome, and to rise into our highest version of self, even if we feel as though we are abandoning someone from our past, we actually rise to meet the higher vibrational version of them on that higher timeline. And that is very much the case with high vibrational soul connections such as soulmates, or of course with twin flames. When we choose to hold the space and to rise into that highest version of ourselves, very often the beautiful outcome is that person ultimately chooses to rise to their own highest vibrational version, and we are able to meet one another on a higher timeline, even if there was a period of time where we felt separated or disconnected because of being on different timelines or different levels, so to speak, temporarily. So in the extended version of the reading, I will be channeling more into this realignment process, what we are being called to surrender to allow this realignment to take place, and also what we can expect from that process, specifically when it comes to a very high vibrational soul connection that you may feel as though you are abandoning or leaving behind, whether it's a soulmate or twin flame, because I know that's very relevant for many of you listening. So I will be channeling some guidance from your spirit guides and your higher self about that situation as well. So the link to those messages in the extended reading is in the pinned comments and description box. But I do have to say that as I was beginning to read into that energy, saying what to expect from this love situation where you feel like you might be leaving someone behind, the security card came out, the King of Pentacles uprights, and also the High Priestess. Wow, what a beautiful kind of power couple energy. I see that this beautiful union with someone who is very matched to your energy is available to you as you make the choice, the brave, courageous, and terrifying choice to continue rising to that highest version of yourself, regardless of who you may feel you are leaving behind, platonically or romantically. The High Priestess, of course, is this highly awakened, highly radiant I wanted to say twin flame, but I meant to say divine feminine. So this may be a twin flame situation for many of you that I am channeling here as well. But this is someone who is very boldly and fully connected to her own intuition, and who experiences a lot of magnetism, a lot of attracting her desires very effortlessly as a result of being so intuitively connected. Someone who is also very connected with the spiritual realm. And I see this really divine feminine as representing your highest version of self. 222 might be a number connecting with some of you. But of course, we have in connection with you on this highest timeline, the King of Pentacles, which can stand for a masculine energy who is very grounded, who is very successful, but also aligned in this material success as well. Someone who, this could potentially be someone who you will connect with who will be of high status or a public figure of some sorts, because this can connect with that as well. But this also could just be a masculine who is on a path toward that, who is going to be someone who is very both grounded but also successful in the physical world as well, and very mature also. And so I see this being either the higher self version of a masculine you've been previously connecting with that you may be afraid of abandoning. But again, the higher version of this person is already in a sense waiting for you on this highest timeline. For others of you, of course, this could be an entirely different person coming in to your life. So take this as it resonates. I will be channeling more on this, of course, in the extended on this, specifically this union that you are attracting in, whether it's the reconnection on a higher timeline with a masculine from your past, or whether it's someone completely new. So the link to the extended is in the pinned comments and description box under the video. If you would like more information on this union situation you are attracting in as you rise onto this highest timeline. But for now, I do want to close out this reading with just one final message from the Rumi Oracle deck. I always like to close these readings with a message from Rumi because the guidebook messages in the Rumi Oracle are so beautiful. And today's message is the dissolving light. It's really interesting. This is card number 3 because a lot of that 3 numerology energy has been coming out, as I mentioned earlier as well. So I'm going to just read a little bit from the guidebook here. I died as mineral and became a plant. I died as plant and rose to animal. I died as animal and I became human. Why should I fear anything? When was I ever less by dying? Rumi. And the guidebook also says, there is a light so intense, so powerful, that nothing other than itself, its own truth, can exist in its presence. It is the sacred seed, the star of your being, lit up from within. It is the light that never goes out. It is the light that is so powerful. It is beyond duality of light and dark, cannot ever be extinguished or diminished, and quite simply beyond all logic, just is. Though you seek the divine and even know it as love, you also know that it is fierce, wild, inexplicable, and demanding beyond all measure. It wants you completely, utterly, without conditions. There will be times in your life, such as now, when there is something not worthy of you that must be released. This is a falsehood, a lie, or deception of some sort that you have come to believe about yourself, your life, or perhaps even another. You may not know what the deception is, or it may be about to be unveiled. This is a cause for celebration. An illusion has or soon will be released, and you shall become freer, free in a way that only truth can provide. So I really hope a message from this reading reached someone who is listening. In the extended version of the reading, which I will be channeling now on Patreon, we will be diving deeper into many points that came up in the reading, which are mentioned in the description box and the pinned comment if you do want to explore what we will be touching on in the extended reading. But in addition to all of that, we will also be channeling love-related messages from both the divine masculine and the divine feminine to one another. So again, all of that information is linked in the pinned comment and description box. Otherwise, I am wishing you a beautiful, magical rest of your day and weekend, and I will talk to you again in Monday's reading.